So, as you know, I was gone last week camping, and I don't know about you, but spending some time in the woods is the best thing in the whole wide world. It's like medicine for the soul. And it just dawned on me how much slowing down is really important. A sense of coming into the present, which is so elusive sometimes because we get busy and we get full in our heads and we have the to-do lists and life carries on, which is great. But sometimes we need to take those little respites to get back to that deep understanding of presence. And you know, our yoga practice is very much this, right? We have this opportunity every time we step on our mat to come into presence, and it doesn't really matter, you know, what postures you do. And I mean, of course, you know, you want to have a practice that serves you in all sorts of ways, physically, emotionally, spiritually, but really, no matter what you're doing, we have this capacity through the breath and through the presence of interoception, kind of feeling the inner body, to be in this present moment. And when we live in the present, you all know this, right? The times when you felt most present for what you're experiencing, everything flows. Even if it's a challenging situation, connections happen, observations happen. Your ability to stay in the flow of the moment is a beautiful thing. So let's try to use our practice as a present moment reminder. No matter what you're doing, no matter which breath you're taking, inhale or exhale, see what you can do to try to focus on just being in your body and being in your mind body, not just body, but mind body, so that we can use this gift throughout the day. Go ahead and close your eyes and sit up straight and tall and think about what you're feeling. Okay, so try to suspend the thoughts of what's coming or what's already been, and instead bring the thinking mind into the body. Start wherever you're landing. So whatever part of your body grabs your attention first, let's start there. And then as you're ready, discover the breath. See what it feels like to breathe. Just slow the breath down. See what it feels like to inhale. Notice the fullness of your breath. See what it feels like to exhale. Can you feel the breath traveling into your sinuses? Is there a sensation through your cheekbones, behind your cheekbones? What is the feeling in your lungs when you breathe in? Can you travel down, live in the lungs for a moment? Can you enjoy the sensation of breathing, this life-giving event that happens moment by moment? Can you feel the back of your body breathe? You have this sensation that the diaphragm is able to be steady and free. You're able to move the diaphragm. Do you have a sense of groundedness? Can you feel that the wideness and broadness of your pelvic bowl, the groundedness, the roots of your sit bones, the heaviness of your legs, the lightness of your spine? Come back up to the face and see what it feels like to rest all the expressions. So this blank slate, anything's possible. And then as you're ready, bring your hands together and even feel that. Feel what it feels like to touch the palms. Take another deep breath in, deep breath away. Offer an intention. What can be aided by you being present today in your life? Something at work, something with your family. How is being in the moment, not rushing forth, kind of leaning back and being present, being patient? How can this serve you? Let's release the hands and come onto your back. All right. So find your way. Supine, stretch your arms overhead. Let's take a big old squeeze. You can kind of hold your breath if you want and just squeeze your body. And then go ahead and stretch the right side, stretch the left side. Just kind of going back and forth, almost like you're climbing a little side ladder, opening up the rims of the body, feeling a little bit of back bend that lives in this pose and how invigorating that can be for the nervous system. And then relax the arms and bring the knees into the chest and rock, and feel how soothing this can be as you rock from side to side for your low back. Checking in with your sacroiliac joints in your spine. Let's circle a few times. If you always go the same direction, try the other way. All right, and then let's go the other way. So spin your knees. All right, right knee into the chest, left leg long on the floor, and spin your ankles. Just waking up all the different parts of your body. So are you present in your feet right now? What does the shins feel like, the calves feel like, the ankle joints themselves? How is the squeeze in your hip and the squeeze in your knee feeling? Can you straighten and lengthen the spine? All right, and then let's change sides. So left knee into the chest, right leg long on the floor, and spin your feet again. This direction a couple of times. Feel the deep squeeze through your hip. Feel the deep squeeze in your knee, or however deep your body gets to go. Okay, deep is different things for different people. All right, and then let's relax and come out of that. Bring the knees together. Rock one more time, and then feet on the floor, arms out at the side. Windshield wiper your knees. You start to get into some twisties in the spine. Take some deep breaths here. We're going to do a fuller twist. So put your feet flat on the ground, hip width apart. Scoot your hips to the right. Pick up your knees and drop them left. Open up across your chest. Turn your head to the right. Find a breath. Find not just the inhale, but the full exhale as well. And then inhale, lift up your knees. Scoot your hips to the left. Bring your knees up, drop them to the right. Open up the chest, turn your head to the left, let the left hand rest on the floor if that's comfortable. Deep breaths here. Twists have a little shifting around in the breathing, so just notice what happens. And then inhale and lift your knees back up. Starfish your body open, spread out your limbs, arms and legs. Feel the reach happen from the center outward. And then as you exhale, pick up your head, knees into your chest. Roll into a ball. One more time. Feel that supine cat-cow happening, a little bit of a back bend, full limbs. Exhale, rounded spine. All right, let's roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, so let's start moving around. Maybe some simple cat-cows to begin. Feel your hands on the ground. Root and spread your hands. Same with your knees. Same with your feet. Can you feel where you're grounding? Open up through the body as best as you can through the cat-cows. And then after a couple of rounds of that, if you want to move around in any way that feels good, feel free to do some circles through the hips. Feel free to do some circles through the neck. Feel free to sway. Just let the spine move and warm up in any shape or fashion it wants. And then settle back towards child's pose. Depending on how comfortable this is for you, see what it feels like to let the back body open up and breathe. Can you relax your neck? Even if you're not back toward your heels, even if your child's pose is high, can you relax the neck? Let's walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. Open the right side of the body. Feel that stretch through your fingers to the hip. Breathe your way there. Notice what changes as you inhale. What is this changing sensation as you inhale versus as you exhale? And then come back to center and walk your hands over to the other side. Stretching to the right, drop weight down through the left hip. Feel the breath travel along that side body. Notice the change between the inhales and the exhales. And can you just take a moment here to just enjoy the sensation of stretch? There's no destination, we have nowhere to go, only here in this moment. And then come back up onto all fours, finding our twist. Reach your right arm up, slide that shoulder down. Find the little sensations that are happening in the spine and the space between the shoulder blades. Find your ribs, breathe deeply. And then inhale, reach that arm all the way back up. Place the hand down onto the ground and change sides. Left arm lifting. Exhale and slide that arm down. Gaze toward the floor. Palm rooting into the earth. Feel the shoulders move away from the ears. Notice the breath now. Great. And then inhale, lift that arm all the way up. Place the hand down onto the ground and find your way into dog pose. So take some time here. Pedal your feet. You can knead your hands and your feet on the floor. Sway your hips, move your shoulders around, move your head around. Just find all the little nooks and crannies in the body. And, if you find, for instance, in your calves, if you stretch one heel down and you get a zing in there, do you immediately get out? Or can you linger just a little bit longer in each of those calf stretches? Maybe you're finding that somewhere else in the body, but just see what it feels like to linger just a little bit. I know that usually I say movement in the beginning is nice, but what would it feel like to just stay and breathe and sense, feel the sensations of the body? What are you feeling? Can you root off your hands? Can you lengthen through your spine? By root off your hands, I just mean yield, push down, rise up. Feel the giving into the earth and the receiving. Feel the length through the side ribs, through the spine. Feel the femur bones draw way back, so there's so much room in your body. It's a very spacious pose. And then let's walk our feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Fold in half. Feel free to move around. So you can wiggle your toes, you can wiggle your hands, you can roll through your neck, you can wiggle your hips. Whatever kind of movement that you feel is necessary in your body, take it. And then inhale for a halfway lift. You can put your hands on your legs or blocks. Exhale and melt back down. We're going to stay in this half lift for a minute. So when you come up, lengthen your spine here. Keep breathing. I like blocks, but you don't have to have blocks. You can hold your thighs or your shins instead. And while you're here, feel your feet. Spread out the bones, root into the big toes, the pinky toes, the center of the heels or the sides of the heels. Let the femur bones draw back. The shins move slightly forward so that you're unlocking the knees. Feel the reach of the spine, the femur bones back, and the crown forward. How's your breath here? All right, then let's melt. Bend your knees as much as you want and then push off your feet. Rise up. If you are dizzy, squeeze to the midline. If you are not, lift your arms up, 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 and then cactus, open your arms or spread open your arms. Find an open chest. And exhale and round in. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Open your sternum up, bend your knees, and lift your arms away from your back. Feel the front of your shoulders stretch. Feel what it feels like to rock them a little bit. Find the neck and dangle it. Release your hands down to the ground. Step the left foot back, the right foot is forward. Come into a lunge. Blocks are helpful, but you don't have to have them. Feel the extension through your spine. Let's start to move, opening up the hamstrings on the front leg as you straighten your leg, opening up the hip flexors of the back leg. Enjoy. So move slow enough where you can really feel the present moment sensations of the body. And move fast enough where there's just movement, that you're not statically holding just yet. Are you breathing? Maybe close your eyes. Does that help you get inside? All right, and then lengthen the spine. Let's walk your back foot in some so the legs are straight. Put your hands on blocks on any height they want to be. You can even stack one block and put the other block on top. So this dance is a little shorter than the lunge. You can always take the right foot out to the side. Extend the spine forward. Square up the hips. Inner spiral the thighs. Stay rooted through the big toe. And when, we go through these cueings of the body, these little mini actions deep inside, not only do they align you well, but they're cues to come inside, to welcome sensation on the inside. When you inner spiral your thighs, something happens. You feel something different. So just travel inside the sensations. And as you're ready, go ahead and lift, stand on up. Bring the arms up to the sky, cactus open, or spread your arms, whatever feels nice. And then interlace the fingers the weird way behind your back. Open the chest, find your breath here. Come forward a little bit. Heads of the arm bones still lifting away from the ground. Try not to arch the back, so stabilize through your core. Just hanging out here, not going too far into the pose just yet. Finding your breath. Your hamstring should be starting to work for the posture instead of just stretching. And then release the hands down onto the ground. Again, walk your back foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. Rise all the way up. We're going to move into some flowing chair poses. So touch your toes together or feet hip width apart. Exhale, squat arms back. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, coming on back. One more time. Arms back. Stay in chair pose now. Lift the arms or not, you be you. So if your shoulders need a different action, you can have your hands in all sorts of other places to support yourself. Put your weight into your heels, drop back. So part of present moment is learning to not keep going forward, the do. Hang back in the heels for being instead of doing. Deep breath here. And then stand up straight. Come up onto your tippy toes. Have a teeny bit of balance work. Two-legged balance. Just start strengthening the feet. Open the arms out to the sides. Heels back down. Inhale. Arms up. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. Now our left foot is forward. Come into a lunge on this side. Start moving. Okay, how is this different on this side versus the other side? Do you have a greater sense of being at home in the body? Is this a familiar dominant pattern or is it not? Do you have tightness or more looseness on this side than the other? Just start to know your body. Are you breathing? All right, and then next time we come to straight legs, let's walk that back foot in, square hips, lengthen through your spine, root into the big toe so you don't lose that front foot. As you root into the big toe, reach the femur bone, the whole shaft of the femur bone, lift it up toward the hip. Inner spiral the thighs, and if you're not sure what that means, it just means internally rotate your femur bones a little bit. Feel the sit bones widen apart. Feel the reach of your crown, long spine. What are you feeling? What sensation do you have in your hip? All right, and then go ahead and come on up. Interlace your hands behind your back the comfortable way now. Open the chest, lean back a little bit, let the heart expand. And then as you're ready, scoot forward with your torso, just enough. This is a lot of work. Your front hamstring is doing a little bit of flexing and a little bit of stretching. So feel the dynamic nature of that stabilization. Breathe here. Is your core engaged? Are your arms, heads of the arm bones drawing back instead of rolling forward? Bring the rhomboids into engagement on the back so the shoulder blades hug toward each other. Feel the ribs draw in to connect to the back body. Okay, and then go ahead and come on up, reaching the arms back up to the sky. Find your breath. Walk the hands down. Come back to dog pose.
Feeling your breath here. Come back to symmetry. Inner spiral of the thighs, root into the hands. Feel that rebound through the body. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Stabilize yourself. Start to feel a little grounding, a little hugging in. What kind of present moment do you have when you're really working towards stabilization? Is it a gripped kind of feeling? Can you still feel flow? Is your breath moving? All right, and then as we're ready, let's put our knees down. If you need to, come down to the floor. Inhale, come up to Cobra Pose. Chest open and broad. Exhale and come back down. Let's do that twice more. Feel the flow of breath moving through you as you inhale, down as you exhale. Stabilize through your low back, through your core, through your pelvis. Try to engage. And then exhale and come on down. Pick up your feet, turn your head. Windshield wipers, knees going, or feet going left and right. Feel the ease in your back. Pause for a moment, bring your legs down, your arms down, turn your head the other way. And just take a moment to experience back body breathing. What does it feel like to have your back body move? How is it moving? Remember, the breath is our best gateway into the present moment. So the more we can train ourselves to be aware and conscious of the sensations of breathing in the body, the more cues we have to pull ourselves back and back and back into the present when we get caught in the doing and the thinking mind. Let's go ahead and come back up onto all fours. Have a moment of swiveling around your spine. See what feels nice in there. Okay. And then find your way into dog pose. Stretch and move. Take your feet wide apart to the edges of the mat. Turn your toes in a little bit so you're internally rotated. Feel the inner spiral. Let this be soothing to your sacrum. Push off your hands and lengthen through your spine. When your legs are wide apart, the breath has even more room to go. So let your breath fill up. Let your breath empty out. And we're going to bring our feet back to normal, and we're going to walk forward. Come into a squat. So instead of chair pose, now our legs are super wide. Hands inside, your elbows inside your knees, heart forward. Just get used to some weight bearing in the legs now. Draw into the hips. Let the femur bones reach back into the pelvis. Spread open the bones of the feet. Feel grounded. Find your breath again. Front and back body, side bodies, all breathing. Feel the deep, deep squat in the hips. And then inhale, stand up straight. Bring your arms up and release your arms out. Bring your feet together. Pause here in Tadasana, either with your palms together or your palms at your sides. Let's just take a moment. Noticing the breath. Noticing the body. Root into the feet. All right, step your right foot back, left foot comes forward, short stance. We're gonna go kind of all over the mat a little bit in our bodies today. We're not heading in one specific direction. Reach the arm all the way up in the air. We're going to bring that left arm down, maybe one block, maybe two blocks, and find yourself into Parsva or Pravrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle pose. Shoulders away from the ears, the spine grows. Inner spiral of the thighs, feel the sit bones widen. Maybe the arm lifts up, maybe the hand stays on the hip. How is your neck? Do you have to roll it so much? Maybe you need to turn it toward the floor a little bit. Are the heads of the arm bones rolling in? Can you roll them back? Can you feel the femur bone reach back into the hip as you ground through the big toe? How is your breath? How are the sensations of your body? What are you noticing? And then release, relax. Back foot comes forward, front foot comes back. Same pose, second side. Come on up. Both arms to the sky. Bring your hand onto your hip. Find your breath. Exhale and reach forward. Now remember, you can always stack one block on top of the other if you need a little bit more height to support yourself. Try not to let this hip pop out to the side. Keep yourself integrated. Extend the spine. Stay rooted through the big toe as you reach the hip back. Spiral open with the breath. And enjoy the twist in this pose. It's quite free because we are horizontal to gravity. There's not a lot of pressure coming down on our spine. So let's enjoy the capacity to lengthen the spine, spread out the vertebrae. So there's lots of room for the twist. How is your breath? Okay, and then come back around. Turn to the long edge of your mat. Bring your blocks with you if you want, and come into a forward fold. Femur bones are drawing back, shin bones are moving forward. Spine gets long. Feel free to have dog pose arms in this. Feel free to have your hands right underneath you. Notice how much space you have for breathing when your legs are wide apart. Enjoy the rib cage expanding. All right, and then come up to stand right here. We're going to just move through a little bit of vinyasa flow through this. So turn your toes out. You can always hold a block if you want to for this. You don't have to. All right. I'm going to move over just a little bit so I don't hit my table. We're going to just flow from one side to the other. So coming into a bent knee, crossing over, inhale and lifting up. We'll go both directions, so don't worry which way you started. Inhale on the way up. Exhale into the squat and transferring weight. What does it feel like to give into the legs, to feel the legs do the work here, to feel the push off come from the glutes, from the hamstrings, to feel your quads. Find your breath. Let's do one more round. Meet up at the top and go the other way. You can do anything you want with your arms. They don't have to go up. They can just come to the sides. Whatever's feeling good. You move at your pace. Keep breathing. Is this direction more familiar, more comfortable, more stable, less so? What's happening? Meet up at the top. Take your feet a little bit in if they got real far, and come into goddess pose. You can put your hands on your knees and lean forward just for a moment. Let the inner thighs stretch open. And then come back up. And now we're going to go down with an upright torso. So remember, you can be here. You can be here. You can be anywhere along the way. So there's no rights or wrongs. Pay attention to how your knees feel in this pose. Can you spin your jar legs with your feet? So heels spin forward, toes spin out. If nothing's moving, it's just isometrics. Feel the work in the legs. Stay present with your breath. Deep inhales, steady exhales. Maybe you want to do something different with your arms. Finding your breath. And then stand up, starfish your body. Heel toe your feet back to dog pose. You go. Find the long edge of your mat. Stretch and lengthen. Inner spiral the legs now. Deep breath. Come forward into a plank. Okay, let's go ahead and put our knees down if you need to. However you're most stable, come down to the floor. Take a back bend of your choice. Maybe something a little bit different than cobra. Maybe you want to do cobra again. Find your breath no matter what you're doing. Exhale, turn your head, a moment of back body breathing. Feel the breath in, feel the breath out. Come up onto all fours. Take your left leg straight back behind you, your right arm straight out in front of you. Feel the stabilization in the center of the body. Take a deep breath in and lengthen. Exhale, knee and elbow come in. Inhale, stretch it out. Exhale, bring it in. One more time. And exhale and bring it in. And put that hand and knee down onto the ground, change sides. Make sure you're anchored from your glutes and core. So when you come into this pose, you're not just arching the back and being lazy in the legs. So feel the stability through the whole leg. Deep breath in, exhale, hug in. Inhale, bringing it out. Exhale, bringing it in. Your pace, not my pace. Your pace is different than my pace. Everybody's breath is a little different. And then let's put that foot down, put that hand down, dog pose again. Long spine, relax the head. Inhale, lift the right leg up in the air. Exhale, bring the foot all the way to a lunge. Climb up, crescent lunge. Reaching the arms to the sky. Open up, maybe lean back a little bit, see what it feels like. Feel the hip flexor stretch. Then we're going to turn and open up to the side for warrior two. Okay. Finding your breath, feeling the sense of stability. Drop the shoulders. Are you here? So feel yourself grounding into the earth, be yielding. Be in your body, be in your breath. Slide that hand down. Inhale, reach up, open the side rim. Feel the ribs stretch. And then come back. Settle in one more time. All right, and then straighten that leg. And let's come into triangle pose. Blocks are nice if you want them. Open your chest. Bring your hand down to rest on the leg or a block. And open up your hand to the sky. Maybe your hand stays on your hip. Stay rooted and grounded through your legs. This is different than a lot of the other standing poses. Notice what's happening across your pelvis, the backside of your pelvis. Can you lengthen the spine more? Can you turn and open the chest? Is that back heel grounded? How does this pose feel? All right, go ahead and come back up. One more pose on this side. Bend your knee, stretch your heart open. Maybe your hand stays down onto the ground. Maybe your arm lifts overhead or out to the side. Decide where you want to be for Parsvakonasana. Be very mindful to not hyperextend this back leg. Are you rooted into the earth with your foot without pushing the knee back? Let the head of the femur bone draw back as the knee, the shin moves forward slightly. Open up the rim of the body, the whole side body. All right, and then inhale and come on up. Back to pointing straight. Lift your arms to the sky. Take a moment to feel your spaciousness, taking up lots of room. And then we're going to turn and bring our feet over to the other side. Come into crescent lunge to begin with. So just turn to the long edge of your mat for a moment. Reaching the arms up to the sky. So you might be facing the back of your mat. Reach and open, square the hips, stretch through the hip flexor of the back leg. Finding your breath here. All right, and then we're going to spin and turn to the side for Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2. So depending on your body, this side might feel awesome. You might be like, yes, I'm home, right? Or maybe your knee is a little shaky on this side. So whatever you're finding, just be present and discover where you need to be in space for the most stability you can find. Discover your breath over and over. Root into the feet, lots of work through the legs. So feel your quads, feel your hip flexors. Imagine that you're trying to lift this thigh off the ground or lift the foot off the ground so your hip flexors engage too. Deep full breaths in. Are you here? Slide that hand down, come into reverse warrior, stretch open the ribs. Okay, and then let's go ahead and straighten the leg and find triangle pose. What do you love about standing poses? Is there a sense of stability, groundedness that comes? Of course, stamina and the strength of your legs. What do you love about this pose? Can you feel your feet root? When you push your back heel into the ground, what kind of sensation do you get in your back in your sacrum? How does the pelvis feel with that stability? Can you let the exhales rotate your ribs open a little bit more? Maybe your head doesn't like to turn, in which case just look straight ahead or maybe even down. Is your knee hyperextended? Can you just make sure it's soft? And then come back up. Parsvakonasana, bend your knee, elbow can be on the knee, hand can be on a block. Wherever you go in this pose, all is well. Stretch the arm up overhead. Notice if you tend to face the floor, see what you can do to open, to turn to the side, even if you need to keep your hand down or hand on your hip to do so. Find your breath, find your feet. Lengthen the crown and tail. Be mindful of your back knee. Don't hyperextend it. A little tiny softness. Let that softness give you the capacity to yield that foot into the floor. All right, great. And then go ahead and come on up. Turn to the long edge with your feet. Bring your hand down. Maybe comes to the floor, maybe to blocks. And just find you. Let the head rest. Take some deep breaths here. All right, let's come back to all fours on your mat. Come to face the front of your mat again. Just do a couple rounds of some cat-cows. Feel that sense of neutral spine, sense of symmetry in the pelvis. And then stretch back to child's pose for a moment. Just let those standing poses kind of sink into the body, integrate. All right, and then let's go ahead and curl the toes under and come up to stand. Okay. Finding your breath, tree pose, root into the right foot, bring the left foot up. You can have it here or here or here, anywhere you want. Just don't stick your heel at your knee joint. That's the only place that's a little sensitive. All right, so the knee draws back, the hip is hugged in instead of sticking out. Feel that sense of stability, and then decide, what do you want to do with your arms? Okay, what kind of tree are you? Find your breath. Look at something that doesn't move, even if you're wobbly. See what it feels like to find a steady gaze. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Present moment awareness. Balance poses are so wonderful for keeping us present. You know, when we have the risk of falling, we hone in just a little bit, but try not to do it so much that you're gripped or attached to your balance. All right, let's go ahead and release that leg and place your foot down onto the ground. Close your eyes, 2 feet on the floor. Have a moment of Tadasana, mountain pose. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. You're going to root into the left foot. Bring your right foot up wherever it's going to go. Try not to stick the hip out, and lean on a locked joint. We're unlocking the hip and the knee. Stabilize through the pelvis, the deep inner core. Even the pelvic floor is engaged. Make sure you're breathing. So the pelvic floor and abdominal strength has to be married to breathing. So you can't just grip and hold without breath. I mean, you can, but will lead you to fatigue. Okay. Feel free to bring your arms wherever you want them to be. Finding your breath, finding the shoulders soften, the neck soften, the eyes soften, the jaw softens, feet are alive, feeling. Breath is deep. You can go ahead and unwind the leg. One more time, stand in Tadasana. Let the legs find equal balance, equal sensation. Bring the hands to the heart and feel that sense as your palms come to the midline, that sense of symmetry and balance. Breathe into this moment. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky and a big swan dive forward. Fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and release back down. Come onto your knees. You might need to come back up depending on your body. Okay, so we're going to take our left foot forward, our right foot back. Come into a lunge, and I'll show this from the side. So you can put your right hand onto the floor, left foot is forward, and start to twist. Maybe you want to reach back and grab your foot and turn this into a big old back stretch. If you can't reach, you can wrap a strap around your ankle. You can also reach back with the same leg. That I find to be even more challenging on my knee. And if all these are too much for your knee, you get to come on up. You can hold something if you want and just grab on and stretch your quads. Okay? So whatever pose you're choosing to do, find the breath. Find the present moment, find the yielding. Open up the shoulders. Hug in toward the midline. Stay with sensation. All right, and then go ahead and relax. Come back to child's pose. Or if you're standing, you can just switch sides. Now we're going to take our right foot forward, our left foot is back, our left knee is back. Open up the chest, and you decide how far you're going in this posture. You can even, if you can't reach your foot and you don't want, or it bothers your knee, you can always come up and do a little twist here. This will stretch open the hip flexors a little bit as well. Not quite as much as this, but it's something there. Okay, so find your breath, and you can always be standing and doing a quad stretch. So just find what's working for you. Tailbone down, pubic bone up, spine grows. All right, great, and then release to come out of that. Okay, come onto all fours. Have a moment of a cat-cow. And then come back to child's pose. You can have your knees close or far. Whatever feels good. All right, pigeon pose. Take your right foot forward. Your left foot comes back. Feel free to support yourself if you need a blanket underneath your hip or folded long ways so that it's both underneath your hip and underneath your back thigh. So however you like to be supported. There's lots of ways to manage this pose. Make sure your hips find squareness and your back knee is on the floor instead of turned out. So put as much props underneath you to cultivate that. And then find the length of your spine. So instead of just collapsing, find the length of your spine. Feel free to put a block underneath your forehead. Deep breath in and away. What is the present moment here? Are you here? Are you here in your body, not just in your mind? Sometimes when the body gets still, the mind gets busy. See if you can stay in the breath, stay in the sensations of what you're feeling. All right, come back up. I'm going to swing that leg around and change sides. Maybe you like doing dog pose in between, that's fine too. So however you want to be in the posture, no two hips are the same, so you maneuver the side however you need to. Do you need more or less props, a different location of your blankets or your blocks? Extend the spine. Once you get to the position that's right for you, extend the spine before coming down. And I like to put a block underneath my forehead, but you don't have to. But if you're not using a block, notice if you just drop your head. See if you can keep your spine neutral. Shoulders are softly moving away from the ears. The breath is still very deep. All right, let's go ahead and come on up. And out of that pose, open your chest. Swing that leg around. Maybe you need a dog pose. Okay. We're going to do a couple of twists, seated twists. And so I like to sit on the edge of the blanket sometimes. You don't have to, but sometimes it's helpful, especially if your hamstrings are tight. It gives you that little bit of a pelvic tilt so that you're not rolling back when you come into these poses. So hopefully your hips are a little bit open for this. We're going to tuck the right knee under, so your right foot is next to your left hip, and your left foot is crossed over your right thigh, like this. If this does not work for your knees, just straighten out the bottom leg. Okay, so there's no reason why you have to be in the more contorted variation. Being up on the edge of the blanket sometimes is helpful, sometimes not. You decide. Lift the spine, hand behind you to support you. You can either put your hand or your elbow, forearm around your knee, or you can lift the arm up and bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. Make sure you're twisting from the breath instead of from your strength of your arms. Find the pose. Center of the sit bones. There's deep work in the hips in a posture like this. Feel free to turn the head all the way. Feel free to turn the head the opposite way and look out over your toe on the floor. Heads the arm bones back, collarbones broad, center of the sit bones, spine is growing, breath is deep. And then come back round. Again, unwind the legs, switch sides. Maybe you need to straighten them out in between. And if you tend to list over to the side, try propping just your left sit bone instead of both, and see if that helps you not list off. Lift the spine. Before you go anywhere, feel the length of the spine. There's deep work in the hips. Depending on how flexible your hips are, this can be a huge pose for your hips. Lift your arm up in the air. Other hand is behind you to support you. Either put your elbow on your knee or hold on with your hand or your forearm. You decide where you're going. Shoulders are down, collarbones are broad. Deep breaths in and away. Let's go ahead and come on out of there. Okay, so go ahead and unwind the legs. Feet are straight out. Feel free to bounce your legs just a little bit. Release things a little bit. Okay, and then go ahead and come back to dog pose. So stretching through your spine, finding the breath. Deep inhales, deep exhales. All right, we're going to do a couple more twists, but in a different plane. So come to lie down on your back. And the arms are out to the sides. And first, just find neutral. Maybe rock a little bit left and right and just see what you're feeling. Maybe pick your knees up. You decide where you're going to go. All right, so we're going to do this two different ways. The first way, we're going to take our feet hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Drop the knees over to the left. Pick up your left foot and put it on top of the outside of your right knee and stretch through the front of that right hip. Open the breath. Put your arms where you want them to be. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Find the breath. And then inhale and pick the knees up. Feet flat on the ground. Sometimes a little wider than your hips is helpful. Drop the knees over to the other side, to the right. Pick up your right foot and put it on the outside of your left knee. While you're here, take some full, deep breaths. Feel the stretch through your hips. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And come back to neutral. Come back with your knees. Bring them into the chest, rocking left and right. Feeling the sway. Feeling the breath. Okay, so to me, there's nothing like coming into a restorative posture to cultivate the present moment. So you get to choose. So I would choose either legs up the wall pose or Supta Baddha Konasana. Those are my two favorites, but there's so many choices for restorative poses. So if you're unfamiliar, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. This is Supta Baddha Konasana. Of course, take props. So you can put blankets under your back, blocks under your back. You can put blankets underneath your knees. It's kind of important to make sure you're supporting your knees. You can also put blocks underneath you for heart bench. So one block underneath your back and one under your head like this. This is a great restorative pose, and you can either do this with your legs straight or combine it with Supta Baddha Konasana, where you open up a blanket and roll it to a snake. This is the most efficient use if you only have one blanket. Okay, so you can also just use one blanket underneath each hip instead of using a snake. But if you're going to use a snake, put it over the top of your feet and then tuck the edges underneath your hips, the outer hips, so that you have some support. Just find the right spot. And this could be really nice. Perhaps you're choosing leg up the wall, which is very simple. You just lay on the floor and put your legs up a wall or up on a couch. So whatever choice you're making, let's find the breath. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Do you struggle with being still? Do you struggle with being a human doer versus a human being? Okay. Most of us, many of us, tend to go, go, go. And sometimes slowing down and coming into rest can be the hardest part. So see what that feels like in your body. Rest your shoulders. Rest your face. Deepen your breath. Make room for your breath. Relax your belly, your whole torso. Let it be soft, even the pelvic floor. Soft and free. ready. Stay here, don't move yet. Just come into the breath and be as present as you can to the experience of your breathing. Let's go ahead and find our way out of here. Okay, so whatever pose you're in, find your way out, and then we'll come into the last twist we're gonna do. So come onto your back. Take your time getting there. First, just bring your knees to your chest and rock a little bit. Neutralize the spine. And then the last twist we're going to do, let's put our right thigh over our left thigh. Find your breath, scoot your hips to the right, and we're going to drop our knees to the left. It's a pretty big twist, so feel free to stick a block underneath your knees so you don't have to go all the way toward the floor. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And then inhale, come back up, change sides. Put left thigh over right thigh, scooch hips left. Put a block underneath your knees if you want or need to. Deep breaths here. All right, and then inhale and lift your knees back up and find Shavasana. So where do you want to be? How do you want to be? Do you want your limbs spread out? Do you want to be closer in? Do you want your knees supported? What is it that you need in your body to be at ease? So remember, Shavasana is a time of integration and rest. But we need this not only to integrate our practice, which is very necessary, but it's also a practice in and of itself of staying present with the body at rest. Remember, when the body rests, the mind sometimes gets hyperactive. So this is practice to stay calm and quiet in the mind and body. Find your comfort. Find your breath. Come into that feeling of melting, letting the body yield and surrender. Deep inhales and exhales.
Begin to deepen our breath. Fill yourself up and empty yourself out. Start to move your limbs, maybe your toes, maybe your ankles, maybe your wrists or fingers. Let's find our way into fuller movements, big breaths. Anything you need to get yourself back into the space of the body not at rest, the body in activity, ready for the day. Let's find our way over onto your side. And use your arms and come up to sit. Let's just take a moment to notice how your body-mind feels. Are you at peace? Are you awake, alive in the body, ready for the day? Offer your practice, share your energy with another. One of the greatest gifts we can give the people in our lives is our presence. So the more we practice being present, the better it is for all of our relationships. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.